Hello, hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Is everyone ready to watch us all be called domestic terrorists by our? I don't know if we can call really. I guess president. He is the president. I guess he doesn't realize he's the president, but we all know. Technically he is. Well, let's get ready, guys. It's a pregame. We are going to be watching Joe Biden's prime time speech. I should have put together a bingo. I did not, because I've had a pretty eventful afternoon, I have to say. I'm going to tell you guys a story of what happened to me this afternoon, not to be confused with what happened to me this morning, which was a whole other rigmarole that we're not going to talk about. Well, I guess we can. Okay, officially, big announcement. I am going to be on the ballot in New Hampshire. We are officially Secretary of State certified. Yay. So that happened this morning, but this afternoon something even crazier happened that I'm going to tell you guys about it. I can't even get over this. Crazy in a good way. But we're going to talk about that because we're pre-gaming, guys. We are pre-gaming. We are 27 minutes and counting from Joe Biden calling us all domestic terrorists in a live primetime address. I'm old enough to remember a time when presidents only gave primetime addresses when there was actually something important to talk about, like if we had gone to war or if another country had bombed us or something like that. But they're apparently you don't even need to do anything to get a primetime address anymore and to get network time to do it. You just need to be Joe Biden and show up and have something to say. Do we even think Joe Biden knows what he's going to say tonight? I don't know. So we're going to watch this together, make it a little bit. I haven't really been covering politics lately. To be really honest, I had kind of turned my brain off to all of this. I didn't even know this was happening until I started seeing people complain about it. And I was like, I gotta start looking at politics again at some point. It has been so nice to turn off. I know that I've been working on the school stuff and really focusing in on that, and that's a whole other horror show of insanity. But it had been really nice not to think about politics for at least a couple of weeks. But I guess we're gonna get back into it. I got some beer. I'm drinking an Elysium Dunkin' Chino. I actually had one of these last night when we were on our other stream, and it's really good. I got a variety pack. I've got some other Elysium beers as well. I doubt it. I hadn't had Elysium since they sold out to Budweiser, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. And I hadn't had their beer since then. The first time I had it was at their brewery in Seattle, and I thought it was great when I was there. But anytime a beer sells out to Budweiser, they start to suck. And so I hadn't had it in a while out of principle. And then I saw they had this pumpkin variety pack at the beer store the other day. And I was like, I'm going to give it a try. And it turned out it's really good. This Dunkaccino one, really good. It tastes like coffee ice cream and pumpkin pie mixed together, which sounds kind of gross. And I understand that sounds kind of gross, but it works. It works. So cheers to all of you. Put what you're drinking in the chat just because. So we're going to watch this here speech. Now, I want to test something out real quick. Do you guys mind if I use you as guinea pigs? Because I have right now MSNBC in another window. And I want to see if I can actually even stream MSNBC anymore. Hang on. Oh, it was working and now it's not working. Hang on. It was working and now it's not working. So let's try again. Oh, okay. I want to see if you guys can see and or hear this. Let me know if you can see and or hear this. Can everyone hear that?
The schoolhouse doors.
This is MSNBC right now because we might do MSNBC reaction stream.
On by his brother, Attorney General Bobby Kennedy.
Good. Okay, good. I was a little worried because I was watching MSNBC a couple weeks ago and I tried to take a screenshot of something stupid Chris Hayes was saying. And when I took the screenshot of it, it grayed it out. I was like, did fucking Xfinity do something where I can no longer stream what's in the browser? But apparently they haven't, so we're just going to go with it. We are just going to go with it. Well, guys, we are counting down to Joe Biden giving his address to the nation. So while we are counting down and everyone's getting cozy, everyone get their drinks. Everyone mount that like button if you have not already. I want to update you on a couple of things. Number one is I am raising money to be able to put together a training program and invest in technology to help teach 10,000 parents how to find out what the schools are teaching their kids. This is going to basically these investigations that I've been doing live on YouTube. I'm going to break down everything I'm doing and I'm going to teach 10,000 parents how to do exactly the same thing. This is a mission. It is a quest. I had a fully formed vision of this when I was meditating one night, and it all came together. And within a week, check this out. Within a week and a half, I conceived of this project. I planned of this project. I made sure I could actually have the technology capable of delivering this project because I'm an organizational psychologist. I've done a lot of online training programs. I've built online training programs for really large companies before. So I know how to do all of that. And I wanted to make sure I could do this like in a way that would be helpful for parents. And I'm taking my organizational psychology skills and applying it to training parents how to fight back against the woke left. So I conceived of this. I planned for this. I made sure I could effectively execute it. I launched on Kickstarter, got canceled on Kickstarter, launched an hour later on Indiegogo, and within 4 days had already raised my goal amount, which was $10,000. And we're still fundraising, guys. We got 53 days left. And so there are lots of perks that you can get that are going to be related to this, and of course helping parents to fight back against what is going on in the schools, like you can get for $50. So I'm going to be selling lifetime access to this program for a $99 one-time fee. That helps cover the technology costs. It also helps cover my time because not only am I going to be building a training program with on-demand video, I'm also going to be doing monthly live sessions to help parents to actually be able to implement the information, answer their questions, work through any problems they're having, things like that. It's going to be like a coaching program. It's going to be a $99 one-time fee once I actually launch it, which I think is actually a really, really good deal. But for right now, you can get it for $50. You can get first access to the Schools Exposed program for $50. That is lifetime access. And that is only available until these 50 slots run out. So that is only available through Indiegogo. And that is something you can get right now. Once you get the $50 access, the price goes up to $75. And that's where it will stay until the program launches in January. And then it's going to be $99 for a lifetime access. So now's the perfect time to get that. Some other cool things you can get are a signed copy of my book, Actively Unwoke. I'll sign it actually in the book, which I haven't been doing because what I've been doing is signing book plates and like sending those out. But and by the way, I do have another batch of book plates going out that if people haven't received their signed book plates yet, I have another batch going out. So don't worry, they're coming. But you can get a signed copy of my book along with first access to the program. You can get private training with me. You can get me looking into your schools. And for $1,000, I will even custom knit you a hand knit shawl. We'll pick out the colors together. I'll make sure you got really good yarns, not that cheap stuff you buy in Michael's. I'm going to get you the good stuff. And I'm going to hand knit you a shawl. We got to get 3 people who've claimed those. So there's 7 spots left. That's very limited. I cannot do more than that, I don't think, because knitting takes a long time, and I want to make sure I'm actually delivering that. So if you have not yet donated to the Schools Exposed program and you want to get involved, head over to unwokearmy.com/parents. You can also find the link in the description down there, and you can do it that way. If you're not inclined to do something like this, that's cool. There are other ways to support the work I'm doing. You can find that by heading over to activelyunwoke.com/support. You can become a member on my Patreon. You can become a member in my locals. You can become a member on my Substack. All of those are going to get you access to my supporter-only Discord. Of course, it's also going to help support the work I'm doing, of course, which is like, I would hope really why you guys would support it, because I'm working on exposing the schools. I'm pretty sure I'm like one of the only people actually working on exposing the schools anymore. I know Project Veritas is doing a thing. I know they are, but I'm doing a different type of thing. And I'm not saying like what Project Veritas is doing is really valuable. I'm trying to do a different thing. There just aren't that many people working on this is the problem. Like I would be perfectly happy if there were like hundreds of people working on this. This is not a competition thing. It's not a cloud thing. I actually want to create more people working on this. That's the truth. But when you get access to my supporter only Discord, you get we do lots of stuff on the Discord, including movie night. And we do have a movie night coming up on Sunday, which I'm really excited about. We're going to be watching 1984 together at 8 p.m. Eastern time in the supporter only Discord. You're going to get access to this if you support the Indiegogo campaign. You're going to get access to this if you are on Patreon or on Locals or a paying member of one of my Substacks. This is one of the perks. And so that would be really great. And you can join us for 1984 on Sunday. We watched Soylent Green last week, which is awesome. And I'm really looking forward to that on Sunday. And then one more thing I wanted to tell you about before I tell you my really good news for the day is that if you have purchased a copy of my book, Actively Unwoke, the ultimate guide for fighting back against the woke insanity in your life, whether that be the hardcover, whether that be the Kindle version, or whether that be the audio version read by me, then you are invited to join my book club, my back to school Actively Unwoke book club. You don't have to be in locals to join this book club. Anyone can join it. And it is totally free to join. The only requirement is that you have to have purchased a copy of the book, because when you sign up for it, you're going to have to show me a copy of your receipt. That's just to keep out the riffraff. It's just to keep out the people who are just causing problems and distracting people and engaging in nonsense and bullshit and getting themselves very close to a defamation lawsuit, Mike Harlow. Like, I was really trying to avoid suing Mike Harlow for defamation, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to avoid suing him for defamation. It's like this fucking close. So we need to keep the riffraff like that out. And that's why I need to see a copy of your receipt. But that is the only thing you need to do. The book club starts on September 17th. And you are welcome to come and join. It is a 3-part book club on Saturdays at 3 p.m. We start on September 17th, and every couple of weeks we will meet and we will have a conversation about, there are 3 parts in the book, so there are 3 book clubs. Also, you can start your own book club with your friends in your community. And this is like just another option that I thought would be a fun idea. If you start your own book club with your friends and family to read my book and have conversations about how to fight back against the woke left, you let me know through activelyunwoke.com/book club, and I will zoom in and have a chat with you guys and talk about the content of my book. And again, totally free. You don't need to pay for it. You just need to organize it. And that would be really great. So you can find out more information about that and to sign up for it at activelyunwoke.com/book club. We had a great book club this spring. I know we're looking forward to another good one in the fall. I know people have been checked out. It's been summer, but kids are going back to school. And I promise you, you're going to want to know how to fight back against what the schools are doing. This is information you want to know. All right. And I'm going to help you do it. I will give you all the tools I have in my toolkit to be able to do it. But you need to get the book. You need to read the book and you need to sign up. That's the job that you have. And then I will take it from there. All right, guys. So we are 16 minutes away from the Joe Biden remarks. Let me just pull this up. I'm going to get it in like, so the sound works, just so we can be ready to go when they start. But I want to tell you guys about what happened today, because this is just a random story, and I just feel the need to share this story because I seriously can't believe this happened. Okay, check this out. So I have about 8 billion email addresses. I mean, really, that's probably not an exaggeration. I have about 8 billion email addresses, and some of them I use and some of them I don't. But one of them that I really don't check as often as I quite frankly should check it, like one of my email addresses was just getting so much junk mail and nonsense that I just stopped checking it. But it is actually one of, like, kind of technically like an email address I used to use a lot for like real things. And I had to log into it today because it's linked to my website domain hosts. So I set up I'm setting up the Schools Exposed website, essentially, is what's going on. I'm setting up the website. I'm getting it all ready to go. And so I had to log into this old email address that I almost never check to get like an access code to be able to log into my website server to be able to work on the website. So I went over and I logged into this email, and at the very top of my email, I see an offer for a domain name that I bought a long time ago. So I don't know if anyone else has this problem. I have a problem with buying domain names, like .com domains. I have bought an obscene amount of .com domains over the course of my of the last like 20 years or so. I own a lot of .com domains, and I most of them I just never do anything with. I'm like, I always have like these ideas like, oh, that would be cool. Like, what's the domain name for that? Like, whatever. Ooh, something just happened. Something flickered. So I buy all these domain names and I never do anything with them. Well, in my email that I never checked today was an offer for one of my domain names. And they had been emailing me at this email address. They had been emailing me for like the last month and a half at this email address, trying to get at one of those domain names. And they started with an offer of $3,500. And so I didn't even see any of this because I wasn't checking that email. And so they started with an offer of $3,500. And when I never responded, they kept emailing me back, upping the offer and offering me more money. And then I would just never respond. And they thought apparently I was playing hardball. So they just kept emailing me back, offering me more money for this domain name. Well, I finally log in today and I see the email. It's like right at the top. And they had emailed me 6 hours ago. They emailed me at noon today. And they said, this is our best and final offer. $15,000 for this domain name. And I'm not going to tell you guys what it is. It's a really good one, though. It's one of the best ones I've ever bought. $15,000 best and final. We have to pursue alternatives if you don't get back to us. I was like, holy shit. They had worked themselves up from $3,500 to $15,000 without me even doing anything. I emailed them right back. I was like, yes, sold. It's yours. I never even did anything with this domain name. It has been sitting in my account for probably 7 or 8 years. So that happened. Yeah, no, and they're paying in cash. And it's all like proper. It's all through GoDaddy. It's all proper. It's totally legit. It's all through a GoDaddy broker. So the moral of the story is, if you have a problem with buying domain names, every once in a while, make sure you log into the email address that you use to buy those domain names, because you might have accidentally played hardball with someone who just kept upping their price. And I probably should have tried to negotiate to see if I could get more, but I was like, oh my God. So for those of you who have asked me if I'm going to spend the Indiegogo money on going on a vacation with Victor, no, I am not going to spend the Indiegogo money on going on a vacation with Victor. But now I do have a whole other vacation fund, and that's amazing. I probably should have tried to go, but you know what? Whatever. This is a domain name that I never used. I hope they use it well. It's a really good effing domain name. It's a really, and I've been manifesting lately like no one's business. So I had to share that story with you guys just because I knew some of you would get a kick out of it. And it really just like, I mean, my God. So let that be a lesson to you. Check your emails. Check your emails. And if you get emails from GoDaddy domain brokers, just ignore them, and they'll think you're playing hardball, and they'll just start offering you more money even though you aren't even paying attention. Anyway, I hope you guys appreciated that. Mount the like button for me if you appreciated it. Did they start the stream or something? Is that what happened? Because I saw the countdown go away. Did they start the stream? Ooh, okay. They did start the stream. So now it's playing. So now when they actually start for real, we'll be alerted. We'll hopefully see Biden come in. Who thinks Biden's going to make it through the whole speech tonight? I don't know. I should have gotten Biden bingo. Does anyone have like a good Biden bingo? It's not on, James, you're not seeing it on major networks? I don't know. I don't like, so I know it's on YouTube. I mean, YouTube is where we're going to stream it from because obviously, but I don't know. Like I do have Xfinity up, so I will be able, MSNBC is streaming it tonight. I know because I have it on right now. So MSNBC is doing something. Maybe we can do MSNBC live reaction after the primetime address. Okay, poll Phil, you're right. Okay. Will Biden make it through the speech? Yes, no. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Guys, welcome on all the other sites that I'm streaming on, to include Odyssey, to include Rockfin, to include Rumble for a limited. I don't know if I'm going to keep Rumble. Guys, if you're watching on Rumble, let me know if you want me to keep streaming on Rumble, because I don't know if people actually watch stuff on my Rumble. I do see St. Miles over there. Hey, St. Miles, good to see you. Oh, St. Miles is doing some home brewing. I'm also streaming on Gitter just for shits and giggles. I actually really like Gitter. I like the platform of Gitter. Gitter is like, it's a little chill. It's a little Trumpy, to be honest about it. Oh, we got a whole bunch of people watching over on Rockfin. Hi, Rockfin. And hi, John, over on Odyssey. Good to see you. So let's see. Yeah, it looks about 50-50 on whether or not Biden's going to make it through the speech tonight. 50-50-50. We'll see. I think the teleprompter will get him through, Andrew. I think it will. The soul of a nation. What is Biden going to talk about tonight? Does anyone know? Is he going to talk about guns or something? Is this like a gun speech? It does sound like Birth of a Nation, doesn't it? That's racist. Come on, man. Exactly, AD. Exactly. Well, guys, I hope you're having a good night. Got about 8 minutes left before this shindig is scheduled to get started. Greg, congrats on the domain name sale. Found money is always nice. It's like, this is a really good domain name. This was a really good domain name. I probably should have negotiated for more, but I was just so surprised. I was like, man, this just doesn't happen every day. Does not happen every day. So you gotta take advantage when it does, I guess. And I just didn't like, I actually don't really care all that much to like push my luck on that, because I kept them waiting for so long by not answering my email. Oh man. But how cool is that? How cool is that? Joshua, thank you for the super chat. He is the best AR-15 salesman ever. He told everyone AR-15 shot bullets 5 times more rapidly than any other gun. Maybe Victor will even get a new gun with this money. Well, no, actually, no. Victor has wanted me to get a gun for like ever. So now it's the time for me to buy my gun. And once I get this domain transaction done, oh, they want me to do a W9. Oh, God. Oh, God. W9s. Fine. Course they do. Do you guys remember when I went to Reno for like the libertarian convention? I went to Reno, and on the first night in Reno, I won like $1,400 playing slots. And it was only after like maybe $20 of betting, and I won a $1,400 jackpot. And when they came over and started throwing $100 bills in my hand, because that literally happened, there were lights going off and everything. They came over, they started just like with a big pile of $100 bills and started putting them in my hands. Do you know what else they handed me? A fucking tax form. They handed me a tax form in the casino for my slot win. I was like, dude, come on. Can't just take free money anymore. Not cool, man. Not cool. Can't just enjoy a nice slots win. Gotta give your split to the government. Exactly. That's kind of felt the same way, Phil. Those bastards. Those bastards. Oh, well. I still have had a lot of fun with that money, so I'm not going to complain too hard. Ba-da-da-da. Just filling out the forms to get my domain money, because I got to use this time wisely somehow. Cheers, guys. Cheers. Yep, white supremacist for a bingo square. Yes, it was American who fucked me over, and Americans getting taken to small claims court is what's happening there. I'm not fucking around about this. American Airlines cost me $2,000 one day for just being absolute douchebags and fucking with my flight. $2,000 on that trip. So, Trendolin, thank you for the super chat, my dear. Appreciate it. If you wanted to say something and let me know, I'll display it on the screen. All done. Payment information done. Give me my money, GoDaddy. Oh, man. All right. That's all taken care of. Don't need to worry about that anymore. Crazy, man. Life. You never know what life is going to give you. You always got to be ready for opportunities, though. Like checking your email. Oh, we hear a sound. Do you guys hear sound? Is this the announcement of the, do you guys hear this, like, this sounds so official. You guys don't hear the sound? Am I crazy? Hang on. Are you guys, hang on. I'm gonna make sure it's set up right. You guys hear this now? Am I making this up? Is this music just playing in my head right now? It says it's on. It's like, am I, you guys seriously are not hearing this? I swear I'm hearing this. I swear. Is it just that much of a delay? Why aren't you hearing this? Oh. Where is this coming from? There's something on my computer right now that's definitely playing, like, twiddly sounds, and I don't know where it's coming from. Oh, no! Where are the twiddly sounds coming from? Oh! Found it. I think I need to reload. Okay, it is playing twiddly sounds. It was just not playing twiddly sounds in this browser. Okay, you guys are gonna be able to hear it this time. Okay. It was just not doing it in this it was a different browser. I had it accidentally playing in a different browser. Can everyone hear the sound now? In front of Independence Hall in Philadelphia? What the fuck? Yay! I'm not crazy. See, I told you there was twiddly sounds. It's very soft now. Well, bot, turn up your sound. See, I'm not crazy. I was actually hearing music. It wasn't in my head. I don't mind the music. I mean, the music is fine. I'm just saying. It's not God Save the... Well... No. Not God Save the Queen, Andrew. Judy is correct. This is going to be the best part of the entire speech right here. Is there anyone there? There's a whole park right behind them. Is there anyone actually in the park? Because I don't really hear anyone applauding. There was definitely some applause, but it doesn't sound like there's many people there. Guys, mount that like button. Not for Biden. You're not mounting for Biden. You're mounting because I'm going to make this more bearable for everyone, and we all know that. But make sure you mount the like button so that YouTube knows that this is not tomfoolery. Okay, it is tomfoolery. It's a little bit of tomfoolery, but mount it anyway, please, and thank you. It helps out. Oh, now nothing. There's no sound. Everyone's quiet. Biden's probably shuffling to the podium. Listen, I gave a speech in front of Independence Hall in Philadelphia, and it was pretty great, actually. I'm going to be honest. It was pretty great. It was very patriotic. Are they ringing the Liberty Bell? This seems like a funeral. What? Oh, man. Oh, police sirens in the background. Thank you, Philadelphia. Oh, the sign language interpreter's up.
Please welcome the President of the United States and Dr. Jill Biden.
This seems very ominous to me. Does it seem ominous to everyone else? There's like red. It looks like the gates of hell. If I believed that hell existed, this would seem very ominous. It's like Biden, are you still alive, Biden? Jill is guiding him to the podium. Jill is there in case he wanders off. He's like, no, Joe. No, just follow the red carpet, Joe. Just go down the carpet. That's it. This is spooky, though. Why did they do this? Oh, there are actually people there. Oh, there are chairs. Okay. Okay. Okay, she successfully guided Biden to the podium. Congratulations, Jill.
My fellow Americans.
Oh, good. His voice is hoarse.
Please, if you have a seat, take it. I speak to you tonight from sacred ground.
He's not going to make it through the speech. Holy shit.
Independence Hall.
He's really not.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is where America made its declaration of independence to the world.
These people can't even put on a speech.
With an idea, unique among nations, that in America, we're all created equal.
This is already better than I thought it was going to be.
This is where the United States Constitution was written and debated. This is where we set in motion the most extraordinary experiment of self-government the world
there is
has
no
ever
deep fake.
known.
This is really our president. This is not a deep fake. Holy shit.
The people. We the people. These two documents and the ideas they embody, equality and democracy, are the rock upon which this nation is built. They're how we became the greatest nation on earth. They're why, for more than 2 centuries, America has been a beacon to the world.
That's a good question, Runner Mom. Why is he yelling?
Equality and democracy.
I know people say like I yell, but I have a tone.
Why is he yelling? No favor to pretend otherwise. So tonight, I've come to this place where it all began, to speak as plainly as I can to the nation.
Come on, man.
About the threats we face, about the power we have in our own hands to meet these threats, and about the
I agree with you, Tyler. I do not think there's two parties. There is one party. I agree with you.
We choose it. We must never forget, we the people are the true heirs of the American experiment that began more than 2 centuries ago. We the people have burning inside of each of us the flame of liberty.
He's like squinting to read the teleprompter.
That was lit here at Independence Hall. A flame that lit our way through abolition, the Civil War, suffrage, the Great Depression, world wars, civil rights. That sacred flame still burns.
Except
now in our time,
in Trump voters.
As we build
Come
an
on,
America that
man.
is more prosperous, free, and just. That is the work of my presidency, a mission I believe in with my whole soul. But first, we must be honest with each other and with ourselves. Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal.
No, it's not, Joe. It's not
Donald
normal
Trump
for a
and
president to
MAGA
have dementia.
Republicans represent an extremism that
The
threatens the
MAGA
very
Republicans
foundations
represent
of our republic.
extremism? What the fuck?
Now, I want to be very clear. Very clear up
He's
front.
calling half the country domestic terrorists?
Not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans.
Maggie Republicans.
Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology.
What the
I
fuck are you
know,
talking about?
Because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans.
Yes, the uniparty Republicans, the
question
rhinos. We know, Joe.
The
We know.
Republican Party
we know.
today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
Oh my, he really is
that
doing
is
this
a
right
threat
now.
to this country.
This is not a movie.
These are hard things. But I'm an American president.
He's really calling everyone
Not
that
a
didn't vote for
president of
him
Red America
a domestic
or Blue
terrorist.
America, but of all America.
Oh my
And I believe it's
God.
my duty.
I didn't think
duty
this
to
was
love
gonna
with
happen. I didn't
you,
think it was
to
gonna be
tell
this
the
bad.
truth, no matter how difficult, no matter how painful.
Oh my God.
And here, in my view, is what is true. MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people. They refuse to
So
accept
you're gonna round
the
us up and
results
put
of
us
a
in
free
the
election.
well, I'm not a MAGA Republican anymore, but
And
like
they're working right
you're gonna round us all up and put us in the
as I
gulag, Joe?
speak in state after state to give power to decide elections in America to partisans and cronies, empowering election deniers to undermine democracy itself.
Oh my
MAGA
God.
forces are determined to
He
take
is.
this country backwards to an America where there is no right to choose, no right to privacy,
Oh
no right to
my
contraception,
God.
no right to marry who you love.
Look, chat disabled. They knew what
They
would
promote
happen.
authoritarian leaders and they fan the flames of political violence that are a threat to our personal rights,
Yeah,
to the pursuit
this
of
is right,
justice,
Tom J. This is a kill shot to
to the
get Trump
rule of
arrested. They
law,
want Trump
to the
indicted.
very soul of this country.
I won't even vote for Trump again. And I'm like, man.
They look at the mob that stormed the United States Capitol on January 6th, brutally attacking law enforcement, not as insurrectionists who placed a dagger at the throat of our democracy, but they look at them as patriots. And they see their MAGA failure to stop a peaceful transfer of power after the 2020 election as preparation for the 2022 and 2024 elections.
Wow.
They tried everything last time to nullify the votes of 81
Thank you,
million people.
Sabrits.
This time, they're determined to succeed in thwarting the will of the people. That's why respected conservatives like federal circuit
You know
court
how
judge
Joe Biden did
Michael
not get
Ludwig
81 million votes?
has
This right
called
here.
Trump and the
Now,
extreme
some people
MAGA
think Joe Biden
Republicans,
did get 81
quote, a
million
clear
votes.
and present danger to our democracy.
Maybe those people are right. Those people could be
While the
right.
threat
Those
to
people are probably right.
American
Joe
democracy
Biden
is
definitely got
real.
81 million votes. I'm sorry. I'm
I
wrong.
wanna
I
say
stand
as clearly
corrected.
as we
Definitely
can.
got 80 million votes. He definitely
We
did.
are
I'm
not
wrong.
powerless in the face of these threats. We are not bystanders in this ongoing attack on democracy.
This is legitimately terrifying.
There
And I'm
are
not even a
far
Republican,
more
and I wouldn't vote
Americans,
for Trump again.
Far more Americans from every background and belief who reject the extreme
We're definitely
MAGA
watching
ideology
MSNBC after this. I'll tell you that
than
right
those
now.
that accept it. And folks,
What is the MAGA
it's within
ideology?
our power. It's in our hands, yours and mine,
Holy
to stop
shit.
the assault on American democracy. I believe America's at an
They
inflection
do.
point.
They do.
One
I
of
agree
those
with this. They
moments
do. They want a civil
to
war.
determine the shape of everything that's to come after.
Oh my God.
And now, America must choose to move forward or to move backwards. to build a future or obsess about the past, to be a nation of hope and unity and optimism, or a nation of fear, division, and of darkness.
You're the one of fear, dude.
MAGA
You're the one
Republicans
doing
have
a
made their
speech about
choice.
how half America is a domestic
anger.
terrorist.
They thrive on chaos. They live not in the light of truth, but in the shadow of lies.
Oh my God. Remember when Joe Biden was like, I'm going to be the unity president? They really thought that everyone was just going to coalesce behind him.
A future of possibility, a future to build and dream and hope.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
And we're on that path moving ahead.
I'm sure it is.
I know this nation. I know you, the American people. I know your courage. I know your hearts. And I know our history. This is a nation that honors our Constitution. We do not reject it. This is a nation that believes in the rule of law. We do not repudiate it.
This is correct. Savrits is
This is a nation
giving
that
good
respects
advice.
Free and fair elections. We honor the will of the people. We do not deny it.
We honor the fortification of elections as depicted in Time magazine.
That rejects violence as a political tool. We do not encourage violence. We are still an America that believes in honesty and decency and respect for others. Patriotism, liberty, justice for all, hope, possibilities. We are still at our core a democracy. And yet,
are we? Really?
History tells us the blind loyalty to a single leader and a willingness to engage in political violence is fatal to democracy.
Blind loyalty?
For a long time.
Most Republicans are running away from Trump right now to DeSantis.
American democracy is guaranteed, but it's not. We have to defend it, protect it, stand up for it, each and every one of us. That's why tonight I'm asking our nation to come together, unite behind the single purpose of defending our democracy regardless of your ideology.
Fuck you, Joe. No, I'm not even voting for Trump if he runs again, and I'm like still not in favor of this.
We're all called by duty and conscience to confront extremists who put their own pursuit of power above all else.
Trump isn't the extremist,
Democrats,
Joe.
Independents, mainstream Republicans. We must be stronger, more determined, and more committed to saving American democracy.
Yeah, exactly.
And MAGA Republicans are to destroying American democracy.
What are they doing to destroy democracy, Joe? What are they doing? Give an example.
Or anything tear us apart.
I want receipts.
Today, there are dangers around us we cannot allow to prevail. We hear, you've heard it, more and more talk about violence as an acceptable political tool in this country. It's not. It can never be an acceptable tool. So I want to say this plain and simple. There is no place for political violence in America, period. None, ever.
What political violence?
We saw law enforcement brutally attacked on January 6th. We've seen
I saw law
officials,
enforcement
workers,
standing around on January 6th.
Subject to intimidation and death threats. And can you believe it? FBI agents just doing their job as directed, facing threats to their own lives.
The innocent FBI agents. The innocent FBI agents.
There are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling.
Mount that like button if you think that this is insane.
This is inflammatory.
Oh, oh, really? Inflammatory, you think?
Law. And we, the people, must say, this is not who we are.
This is the most ominous thing I've ever seen. This is like Orwellian.
Ladies and gentlemen, we can't be pro-insurrectionist.
Get that sign language interpreter.
Pro-American. They're incompatible. We can't allow violence to be normalized in this country. It's wrong.
Like the Black Lives Matter riots?
Political violence with all the moral clarity and conviction this nation can muster. Now, we can't let the integrity of our elections be undermined. For that is a path to chaos. Look, I know politics can be fierce. and mean and nasty in America. I get it. I believe in the give and take of politics, in disagreement and debate and dissent.
Really?
We're a big, complicated country. But democracy endures only if we, the people, respect the guardrails of the republic. Only if we, the people, accept the results of free and fair elections. Only if we, the people,
say it, Trump. Say it. I won, Trump. Just say it. Why won't Trump say I won?
Differences. Democracy cannot survive when one side believes there are only two outcomes to an election. Either they win or they were cheated. And that's where the MAGA Republicans are today. They don't understand what every patriotic American knows.
Do they really not get how this looks?
Country only when you win. It's fundamental.
Do they really not understand the optics of this?
American democracy only works only if we choose to respect the rule of law and the institutions that were set up in this chamber behind me. Only if.
Like the Second Amendment?
Respect our legitimate political differences.
Like the Second Amendment, Joe?
I will not stand by
also
and watch.
The First Amendment?
I will not. The will of the American people
that
be
says
overturned
I can
by
fucking
wild
protest?
Conspiracy theories and baseless evidence-free claims of fraud. I will not stand by and watch elections in this country stolen by people who simply refuse to accept that they lost. I will not stand by and watch the most fundamental freedom in this country, the freedom to vote and have your vote counted.
Oh, that's what it's really about, isn't it? That's what it's really about.
Look, as your president, I will defend our democracy with every fiber of my being, and I'm asking every American to join me.
No. I wouldn't even vote for Trump again, but I'm not voting for you either, Joe.
Throughout our history, America's often made the greatest progress coming out of some of our darkest moments, like you're hearing that bullhorn. I believe we can and must do that again. And we are. MAGA Republicans look at America and see carnage and darkness and despair. They spread fear and lies.
No, they look at BLM riots and see carnage and darkness and despair.
But I see a different America. An America with an unlimited future.
An America with a one-world government where you will own nothing and be happy.
I hope you see it as well. Just look around.
Holy hell.
I believe we could lift America from the depths of COVID. So we passed the largest economic recovery package since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And today, America's economy is faster, stronger than any other advanced nation in the world. We have more to go.
It's like inflation isn't real.
We could build a better America. So we passed the biggest
this is propaganda.
President Dwight D. Eisenhower.
We are watching political propaganda right now
rebuilding
in real time.
Roads, bridges, highways, ports, water systems, high-speed internet, railroads. I believe we could make America safer. So we passed the most significant gun safety law since President Clinton.
Shall not be infringed, Joe.
We could go from being the highest cost of prescriptions in the world to making prescription drugs and healthcare more affordable. So we passed the most significant healthcare reform since President Obama.
This is actually mind-blowing to me how bad this is. This is mind-blowing to me.
And I believe we could create a clean energy future and save the planet. So we passed the most important climate initiative ever.
I thought that was about inflation, not climate. Why? I thought that was about inflation. Was I wrong?
The cynics and the critics tell us nothing can get done.
Oh my God.
There is not a single thing
you might
America
be right about
cannot do. Not a single thing beyond our capacity if we do it together. It's never easy.
They're trying to create a civil war.
But we're proving that America,
they really
no matter how long the road, progress does come.
They're literally trying to create a civil war.
I know the last few years have been tough, but today, COVID no longer controls our lives. More Americans are working than ever. Businesses
We're
are
watching
growing, our schools
MSNBC
are
after
open.
this. That's for sure.
Millions of Americans have been lifted out of poverty. Millions of veterans once exposed to toxic burn pits will now get what they deserve for their families and their compensation. American manufacturers come alive across the
It's really
heartland,
scaring me
and the
too,
future
Reagan.
will
I'm
be
not joking about
made in
this.
America.
Holy shit.
No matter what the white supremacists and the extremists say, I made a bet on you, the American people, and that bet is paying off, proving that from darkness, the darkness of Charlottesville, of COVID, of gun violence, of insurrection, we can see the light.
We
Light
can
is now
see the
visible.
light. His
Light that will
dentures just
guide
fell
us
out of
forward.
place.
Not only in words, but in actions. Actions for you, for your children, for your grandchildren, for America. Even in this moment, with all the challenges we face, I give you my word as a Biden, I've never been more optimistic about America's future.
I'm not sure
not
that
because
means
of me,
anything,
because
Joe.
of who you are. We're going to end cancer as we know
Did
it.
Hunter
Mark my
Biden also
words.
give his word as a
We're going to
Biden?
create millions of new jobs in a clean energy economy. We're going to think big. We're going to make the 21st century another American century because the world needs us to.
Is that Hunter?
That's where we need to focus our energy.
No, that
Not
was
in the
Tony
past,
Blinken. It looked like Hunter
not
Biden
on
in the
divisive
dark.
culture wars,
Kind of.
not on the politics of grievance, but on a future we can build together. The MAGA Republicans believe that for them to succeed, everyone else has to fail.
What are you talking
They
about?
believe America, not like I believe about America. I believe America is big enough for all of us to succeed. And that is the nation we're building, a nation where no one is left behind. I ran for president because I believe we're in a battle for the soul of this nation. I still believe that to be true. I believe the soul is the breath, the life, and the essence of who we are. The soul is what makes us us. The soul of America is defined by the sacred proposition that all are created equal in the image of God, that all are entitled to be treated with decency, dignity, and respect, that all deserve
This is going to be taught in schools,
justice
guys.
and a shot at lives of prosperity.
This is going to be taught in schools.
And that democracy,
Teachers are going to have kids watch this.
Must be defended, for democracy makes all these things possible. Folks, and it's up to us. Democracy begins and will be preserved in we, the people's habits of the heart, in our character, optimism that is tested yet endures, courage that digs deep when we need it, empathy that fuels democracy.
I like that some industrious people got a
each other,
megaphone.
not as enemies, but as fellow Americans. Look, our democracy isn't perfect. It always has been.
Oh, that wasn't a police siren. It was the megaphone.
Those folks you hear on the other side there. They're entitled to be outrageous. This is a democracy. But history and common sense.
You just called them a domestic terrorist for having a fucking megaphone.
Good manners is nothing they've ever suffered from. But history and common sense tell us that opportunity, liberty, and justice for all are most likely to come to pass in a democracy. We have never fully realized it. But every generation has opened those doors to include more before. My fellow Americans, America is an idea, the most powerful idea in the history of the world, and it beats in the hearts of the people of this country. It beats in all our hearts. It unites America. It is the American creed, the idea that America guarantees that everyone be treated with dignity. It gives hate no safe harbor. It installs in everyone the belief that no matter where you start in life, there's nothing you can't achieve. That's who we are. That's what we stand for. That's what we believe. And that's precisely what we're doing. Opening doors.
Unbelievable.
Creating possibilities. Focusing on the future.
Unbelievable.
And we're only just beginning.
You know what? Good for those Trump people who got that megaphone and are disrupting this whole thing. Good for them. That's the fucking resistance right there. There needs to be more people out there doing that.
Just and strong, noble and whole.
Oh, I don't see a way to stop either, Severance. It's like,
it's the work of democracy.
Move to New Hampshire.
The work of this generation.
We nullified all federal gun laws.
For all time. We can't afford to leave anyone on the sidelines. We need everyone to do their part. So speak up, speak out, get engaged, vote, vote, vote.
Vote for me, vote for me, vote for me.
If we do our duty.
Not for the other guy, they're terrorists.
In 2022 and beyond, then ages still to come will say, we, all of us here, we kept the faith.
That's all he wanted to say for a primetime address. Holy
we heeded our words. We heeded not our worst instincts, but our better angels. We proved that for all its imperfections, America is still the beacon to the world, an ideal to be realized, a promise to be kept. There's nothing more important.
Hey, man.
Nothing more sacred.
I'm literally wearing a secession t-shirt right now.
That's our soul.
My t-shirt says that New Hampshire should leave the Union. It's a secession t-shirt.
We must always be. I have no doubt, none, that this is who we will be, and that we'll come together as a nation that will secure our democracy, that for the next 200 years, we'll have what we had the past 200 years, the greatest nation on the face of the earth. We just need to remember who we are. We are the United States of America.
Come to New Hampshire, dude. We're right over the border. We'll take care of you.
May God protect our nation, and may God protect all those who stand watch over our democracy. God bless you all.
That's it?
Democracy. Thank you.
Oh, my God. I mean, yeah, that's very true. Oh, now Jill has to guide him back again. All right, guys, we're going to watch MSNBC. I'm getting MSNBC cooked up. We're ready to do that. Holy shit. Holy shit. Hang on, let me get MSNBC up and running so we can start watching that. Holy shit. Wow.
About MAGA Republicans not believing in the Constitution, that they
had
a vision that either they won or they were cheated. That for them to succeed, everyone else would have
Guys,
to fail.
mount that like button if you thought that shit was insane.
A kind of coalition of those of goodwill coming together to unite to defend democracy and the soul of America.
My God.
For some reaction, I want to turn to someone whose job was to monitor the nation's national security, among many jobs he's held. Shortly after 9/11, of course, we created the new huge governmental agency.
That was what he wanted, a primetime address. That was primetime addresses used to be saved for things like declaring war.
And while DHS initially focused on external threats,
I'm pretty sure Joe Biden just declared war on half the country. They are now dealing with the
rise in domestic extremism.
Yes, Savarez, we really do need to do that stream. You're right about that. We will get that scheduled. I promise.
As President Biden just mentioned.
We do need to do
that stream. My next guest used to run that department as Secretary of Homeland Security under President Obama, and Jay Johnson joins me now. It's good to have you here.
Thanks, Chris.
You've known the president for a very long time. Obviously, you served in the cabinet of the Obama administration. What did you think of the speech?
That speech, which I will call a soul of the nation speech, was
like they want me to call
Joe Biden. You could tell he believes, the core of his being, he believes in what he said. I would not be surprised if that speech was his idea. I would not be surprised if he wrote much of it himself.
Come
on! I would not be surprised to find that it's been sitting in his desk drawer.
You think Joe Biden wrote most of that himself?
And he's been waiting for the right moment to
You
give it.
were the director of Homeland Security, and you think that okay, dude, come on, dude. We need to defund the Department of Homeland Security immediately.
I believe President Biden felt he had an obligation to give that speech. I thought it was notable that he mentioned Donald Trump by name, something he rarely does.
Off the bat.
I thought it was notable that he called out MAGA Republicans for not telling the truth, for not respecting the Constitution, for not respecting the rule of law,
for not respecting
the will of the people.
You fucking morons.
It's a very blunt and direct speech.
I'm not even voting for Trump again.
I also
fucking idiots.
Thought to myself, as you give a speech like you have to walk a narrow path, calling out the dangers to our democracy, also being an optimist about the future, not sounding like you're giving a so-called malaise speech. which Americans don't want to hear. They want to hear from their leader an optimistic tone, but also a degree of
They
honesty
basically
about the
flew
dangers we
everyone in the
face.
White House to
And I
Philadelphia
thought
to have
the
an
president
audience.
did a good job of walking that line.
I want to hone in on something specific about political violence, and I know we have our producers going through to see if they can cut some tape.
What
he was
violence?
very straight on about political violence.
What violence? Give me an
violence
example.
Is an acceptable
What
political tool,
violence?
has no place,
What violence?
in American life. He said this on the day that the ex-president, and I'm not even going to play the sound, but the ex-president talked about offering full pardons to individuals involved in the January 6th insurrection. I mean, and apologies. I mean, basically, quite a contrast on this day. The ex-president saying, these people who engaged in a violent insurrection on my behalf, should I be reelected, will receive apologies and full pardons.
Trump should have pardoned everyone. Trump should have pardoned. That was a failure on the part of Trump. He should have pardoned everyone.
Chris, if I were in office today as Secretary of Homeland Security, it might be my number one concern that brewing just below the surface is a very large degree of unrest.
Thank you to St. Miles over on Rumble. I appreciate it.
Polls out that suggest that large percentages
of Americans
for the
Rumble. Oh, thank you to Emily C over on Rumble. I appreciate it, guys. If Biden administration wasn't a coup, it wouldn't be acting like a coup. That's exactly right. Even though I can't say on YouTube that it was a coup, it definitely wasn't a coup. I gotta say, because I'm on YouTube, Joe Biden definitely got 80 million votes. There's no election fraud at all because I'm on YouTube. I'm just reading a super chat. I don't think there was YouTube. I don't think there was fraud. There was no fraud, obviously.
Call out the attacks on the institutions of his government. Something that the last president ran away from, frankly, and went in the opposite direction. And so I think our president tonight assumed the role that you should in times like this by being honest, calling out the potential for violence, deploring it, condemning it, and getting so many of us who are in the middle to really begin to think hard about this issue and where we are going as a country.
Crane Jean-Pierre lied.
But this is a problem that is the domestic unrest that lies below the surface that could boil over at any moment, like it did just a couple of weeks ago, and certainly on January 6th.
Oh, I bet Twitter's going insane right now, aren't they? Holy hell, I can't even imagine. I'm so glad I'm not on there right now.
That just portion of the speech that Joe Biden just delivered in the city of Philadelphia talking about political violence.
I mean, this is going to be the RNC. If the RNC isn't cutting this into campaign ads right now, the RNC is failing at their one fucking job.
We do not encourage violence. We are still an America that believes in honesty and decency and respect for others. Patriotism, liberty, justice for all, hope, possibilities. We are still at our core a democracy. And yet, history tells us the blind loyalty to a single leader and a willingness to engage in political violence is fatal to democracy. For a long time,
political violence?
We told ourselves that American democracy is
guaranteed. What political violence?
But it's not. We have to defend it, protect it.
Yeah, it was in front of Independence Hall in Philadelphia, Cider, so it was out in the open.
That's why tonight I'm asking our nation to come together, unite behind the single purpose of defending our democracy regardless of your ideology.
That last part there was the sort of rhetorical thrust of the speech was to sort of isolate this faction, this minority faction, which I think we would all agree is a minority faction.
Not a minority faction.
Life that wants to see the essentially end of democracy as we know it.
A large minority.
A large minority, exactly. Which is a tricky thing, right? Because when you're communicating to the country,
email, Phil. Thank you.
When you're talking about, in this case,
I'll say it when the thing happens.
Who hears your message what way? How do you think he walked that line?
So YouTube is not letting Phil say this, but I'm going to say it direct for him because he emailed it to me. Phil wants to say this scrotum sucker just declared war on the American people. He has weaponized the DOJ and will now attack his political opposition.
In my view,
thank you, Phil. I appreciate it.
Those public officials, those of us with a microphone and a public voice.
I'm just reading a super chat, YouTube. This scrotum sucker just declared war on the American people. He has weaponized the DOJ and will now attack his political opposition.
those in office, those who are not in office, through our rhetoric,
I'm
we have the
so
ability
glad
to
I
make
live in New
unacceptable
Hampshire.
behavior acceptable, and for
Guys,
those who are
get thee
deranged,
to
violence
New
and
Hampshire.
inevitable.
We're going to
So a corollary to
secede.
that is
Thank you,
the
Phil.
thought that public officials, public figures on TV, like yourself, who hold office, have a responsibility to be reasonable in their rhetoric, because you do make violence inevitable if you stir up this kind of hatred and suspicion.
Really?
I think that's very true.
You don't
Jay Johnson,
say.
it's
You
really
make
wonderful to
violence
have you here
inevitable.
collecting pieces
You
of
don't
us. I
say.
really
You
appreciate you.
fucking moron.
We're going to go back to Independence Hall in Philadelphia, where NBC News White House correspondent Mike Memoli watched the president deliver his
so
speech
mad
on the
about
threats
this.
facing the nation.
No,
Mike,
I'm not going to get myself mad. I
Jay
have
Johnson was
beer.
just talking about this being
Does everyone
very
have
much
a drink?
a vintage
We all need
Biden
one
speech and something
tonight.
he wanted to give feels strongly about the impetus for tonight's address.
Well, Chris, I really thought this was a fascinating bit of
Morons.
presidential stagecraft and rhetoric in this
Oh
most American of
my
settings, the building where
God.
the founding documents of this country were written. Joe Biden,
Once
President
you
Biden
see
talked
the
about
political
the America
propaganda, you
that
can
he
never.
knows.
Can someone just
And
insert
in
me
a
back
very,
into the Matrix,
at one point,
please?
even almost explicit way, tried to separate what he said was the vast majority of the American people with a distinct minority, albeit a potent one, which is essentially un-American. And for Joe Biden,
They're
as somebody
un-American.
I've covered a long time.
They're
Chris, you know,
un-American.
that's quite a
Half the
statement.
country
This
is
somebody who has,
un-American.
over the course of
Okay,
his career, been
sure.
criticized for his relationships with Republicans and even with some Democrats whose views many consider to be objectionable. We remember the role that this played in the primary. But as I was preparing for this speech and talking to White House
Republicans
officials
better
and others,
not
I thought
do
an
what
interesting
Republicans. I'm
insight
telling
came,
you guys, if you
from Jeff
respond with
Nussbaum, who
violence,
recently
it's
left the
not
White
going to
House
be
as a
fucking
speechwriter,
good.
but was writing speeches
Do
for
not
this
do
president
anything
as far back as the
stupid.
2008 campaign. He said, you know, President Biden was not naive. He knew that his election alone
Conservatives
would not drive,
and Republicans have
a
got to
stake
rein
into the
this
heart of
shit in.
Trumpism, but he
Do
really,
not do
over the course
anything
of his 2
stupid.
years in
They
office
will take
almost,
advantage
was
of
increasingly
every
dismayed by the
stupid
fact
thing
that
the right does.
Republicans, elected Republicans, were still very clearly under the thumb of Donald Trump. And you heard the president for the second time in 3 days refer to his longtime friend from the Senate, Lindsey Graham, in, as Biden put it tonight, predicting perhaps even encouraging violence in the streets should the prosecution, for instance, of the former
Do not
president
take
go
the
ahead.
bait,
And so
conservatives.
what the president did tonight
Don't
was
do
very
it.
plainly, as he said,
They're
in
trying to
beginning
bait
his
you.
speech,
They are
put
trying.
that
You know what they're
stark
okay, I'm going to
contrast
say this
before
when
the
they have a
American people,
commercial.
but ended
They are
in that Joe
trying
Biden
to piss
congenital optimist
the right
way,
off. They are
with what
trying
he
to
said is
provoke
his
the right to
optimism
do
for the
something
future of the
stupid
country,
so
building
they
on
can
the
use it
successes,
against
and he
them
laid them
prior
out,
to the
legislative
midterms.
wins over the
That's
course
what
of his
this
time in
is.
office,
They're
and then put the
trying
choice
to
before
provoke the
voters,
right.
saying they need to do our
not
duty
do
in the months
it.
ahead to preserve this democracy. Chris.
Conservatives start violence all the fucking time. All death threats come from conservatives. Don't give me this shit. Don't give me this. Conservatives are the very first people to engage in death threats. They do it all the fucking time.
Civil rights attorney,
They need to
former
rein it
assistant US
in.
attorney, president and CEO of the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, Coalition of Civil Rights
I've
Organizations.
heard the
Ellie
messages
Mistel,
left by
Justice
conservatives for that John
correspondent, for
McCain
The Nation.
tweet.
It's good to have you here. The sort of wedge approach, right? That's the key point here is like Popular Front coalition in defense of American democracy against its enemies, who are a sizable but minority faction in American life. How effectively do you think he did that?
Well, I think he made the choice very stark and clear. He did two things, I think, in his speech, which one was to say, I'm not talking about all Republicans, I'm talking about MAGA Republicans, and making that distinction.
That
because what he was
is
saying
most of the Republicans, you
oppose
idiots.
Rights, those who oppose the rule of law, those who believe in the big lie that there's election fraud and therefore want to win when they've lost and violently take over the country is actually what we're fighting against. And I think that is a recognition that there's a majority of the country that understands that's wrong and that's bad. And at the same time, I found it fascinating that while he made references to race, he made references to equality, to the fight for abolition in part of that speech, that so much of the big lie was actually driven by white ethno-nationalism.
Yeah.
When we're talking about
my
white supremacy, we're
God.
talking about what has driven the lie, which
No.
is the fear of
These
the fact
people
that
don't
we
know
are
what
a
that shit really
plural
looks like. I
democracy.
do know
He
what
did
that
use the
shit
term
looks
white
like.
supremacist once towards the end and did mention which
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know who it's not all
God.
Republicans, just MAGA Republicans are for. Like, I'm sure that there are some white supremacists who will vote with white supremacists who don't think they're white supremacists.
White
We're
supremacists
happy
don't even
that Biden
like
didn't
Joe
call them a white
Biden. Or
supremacist,
excuse me,
but,
they don't
like,
even like
it's not
Donald
for me.
Trump. They don't.
Well,
Well, they
for
do
me,
like
and
Joe
you
Biden more
mentioned
than they
this
like
already,
Trump.
but this
Actually,
is, I think, a really great bit.
real white
where he says
supremacists
to the
don't like
heckler,
Donald Trump.
That dude, that man, that person from the other side is entitled to be outraged.
Totally.
And that, to me, that is the difference
Yeah.
between Biden and Trump.
Totally.
That is the difference between me and Jenny Thomas.
Right.
That is the difference between Democrats and Republicans, because Republicans right now would have that heckler be beaten.
Right.
They would say
What?
that heckler.
I don't know all Republicans, but Donald Trump.
What
certainly
are
would
you
certainly
shitting
has
me?
a record for saying.
Right? And Lindsey Graham would be like, okay, boss. Like, that's how they are at this point, right? And so when Biden says that heckler is entitled to be outrageous, how can you hear that? Understand what he
This
meant.
guy
You heard
probably
the whole
teaches at
time he was-
Yale or some
That guy
such
was yelling
shit.
into the microphone. How can you hear Biden say that and not understand
This is what
about the
Democrats
critical
believe,
difference
guys. We're
between both
watching
parties?
this because
Yeah,
this is
it
what
was an interesting
Democrats
moment because
believe.
it was sort of democracy in action, right? Like literally the definition of free society is one in which you can get a bullhorn and yell at the president. Like almost definitionally. Maya Wiley, Eileen
Oh, that
Pascal,
never
stick
happened to
around.
Trump.
Coming up after
That
the sitting
never
president
happened.
warns the looming threat from his predecessor, presidential historian Michael Beschloss joins me next.
Oh my God. All right. I'm turning down the volume because I don't want to have to listen to the commercial, but I do want to see when they come back. Listen. And I need conservatives and Republicans to listen to me like they've never listened before in their life. I know from direct personal experience that anytime death threats happen or any of like these threatening things, it comes from the right. I know you guys don't want to hear this, but that is the truth. Every single death threat I have ever received has been from a conservative. Every single overreaction that I have ever received has been from a conservative. Don't get me wrong. I've gotten shit from the left too. But the really bad stuff, the really, really bad stuff has always, universally, 100% come from the right. And I know, for those of you who are following the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire Twitter drama with the John McCain Happy Holidays tweet, I know I have heard the messages that were left. And and I had nothing to do with that, but I did support it and I do continue to support it. But I heard the messages that were left on people's voicemails. I've seen the emails that were sent to people. They didn't come from the left. They came from the right. They were not good. And I need conservatives and Republicans to listen to me like you have never listened before in your life. If I have ever said anything that you have found compelling, you need to fucking listen. Do not take the bait. They are baiting you. This is bait. They want you to be violent. They want you to send threatening messages. They want you to do anything that they can nail you to the wall on. Nope, they didn't. It came from the right. See, you guys like to deny this bullshit. You like to deny it happens. No. I know exactly and precisely where they came from. You idiots with your fucking denials of this shit. With you, this is going to lead to you idiots taking the bait. Do you understand that? By not looking at the people on your own side, you cannot take this bait. You cannot. Do not make threats. Do not call in bomb threats like they did at Boston Children's Hospital. Do not make anything that could even remotely be conceived as a threat. Do not do anything stupid. Because I'm sure people are riling each other up on social media right now. And someone is going to do something. Something like, oh God, I don't even want to go on Gab right now. Oh my God, I cannot even imagine. You need to sit back and you need to keep your mouth shut, and you don't give in to your inner urges to send that email or to leave that voicemail or whatever the fuck. You need to rein it in, because anything you do will be used against you. Do not do it. And don't say no one warned you if you did something stupid and it comes back to bite you in the ass and you end up in the gulag before everyone else. Tom J, thank you for the super chat. Currently red pilling a new friend here in New York City that was shocked when I told her the January 6th trial didn't allow GOP reps to defend him. We need to keep calm and find common ground and just call for fairness. Normies will come around. We have 2 years. Let's go. This is exactly right. This is exactly right. You need to keep calm. You need to maintain the high ground. The minute that one of you gives up the high ground is the minute that everyone gives up the high ground. They want you to be violent. They want you to be the people that they say you are. They want you to make calls for civil war. They want you to do this. They want you to riot. They thought that January 6th was going to be so much worse than it was because they did not understand. They did not understand that in general, Trump supporters are not violent. However, you guys do run your mouths. You make threats of civil war. You say you're going to do it. You call people, you send really nasty emails, you post nasty messages on social media threatening war, talking about your guns. They are going to use everything you do against you. You need to be calm. You need to rein it in. And I say this as someone that wouldn't even vote for Trump again. I will not vote for a Republican ever again in my life. But I am actually on your side on this. But you need to rein it in. All right, let's go back.
That all are entitled to be treated with decency, dignity, and respect. That all deserve justice and a shot at lives of prosperity and consequence. And that democracy must be defended, for democracy makes all these things possible.
President Joe Biden just delivered an argument on behalf of American democracy. Saw there the speech a response to the acute threat Donald Trump and what he called MAGA Republicans continue to present to the future of the American experiment following his attempted coup, and as they quite openly pledged to and plot another. Biden was reportedly inspired in part by a recent closed-door meeting with a group of historians who warned him the dangerous moment for the future of our democracy. According to the Washington Post, the group, quote, painted the current moment as among the most perilous in modern history for democratic governance. Comparisons were made to the years before the 1860 election, when Abraham Lincoln warned that a house divided against itself cannot stand. The lead up to the 1940 election, when President FDR battled rising domestic sympathy for European fascism and resistance, the U.S. joining World War II. Michael Beschloss is a presidential historian who was in that private meeting with President Biden, and he joins me.
Wow.
You know, Michael, it struck me that much of the rhetoric there was familiar. It was in the sort of main corpus of the American creed, right, about City on a Hill, but that the specific purpose that it was called towards, which is defending American democracy against its enemies, was rather unique. And I wonder if you could think of a precedent here or an analog in other presidential rhetoric.
Yeah, I can. And, you know, you mentioned this meeting that historians had with President Biden a couple of weeks ago, that I was there, about 5 outside people. And by the way, just so this doesn't seem too secretive and furtive, these seminars are ones that presidents have had at least back to George H.W. Bush, Bush 41. And I've been at most of them, with the exception of Donald Trump. During the Trump years, I did not ever go to the White House by my own design. And, you know, here's the case. What we talked about was just as you just mentioned, Chris, 1860. And someone who's an historian like you know all this. 1860, this country was in big jeopardy. It was splitting apart, house divided, slavery or non-slavery.
Wow.
And Lincoln cast the election of 1860 by saying, the House can't stand.
They're comparing Joe
free.
Biden to Abraham Lincoln. Are you
1940,
shitting me?
when Franklin Roosevelt was running for a third term, just as you just mentioned. Roosevelt didn't say the paramount issue this year is the minimum wage, although that was pretty important, or you know, whether Texans get an oil depletion allowance or something like this. He said, look, these are all important, but what is really at stake at this moment is whether our children are going to get to live in an American democracy, especially with Hitler and the fascists looming in Europe and marching. So I said, and the others said, I'm happy to be transparent about it to President Biden in the map room. This is like 1860. This is like 1940. You know, you have to talk about the large issue in the room. And just as Lincoln gave the House divided speech,
I cannot
just as
with these
Roosevelt
people.
gave a speech on the State of the Union about the four freedoms, as you well know, 1941.
Not
You know,
with
here is a
these
time
people.
when President Biden was chosen. And by the way, we didn't help him
Oh
write this
my
speech.
God.
I don't give political advice, nor did any of the rest of us. And good thing, it would be pretty sad because we're not equipped to do that.
They
But
were
the point
like, Trump
that
is
he
literally
realized
Hitler.
that this is an historic
Trump
moment,
is like
and
literally
what you-
Hitler.
what
Yes,
you
that's
heard,
exactly what
I
they
think
just
comes
did.
out of that.
Yeah, you know,
And
it strikes me
Biden
too,
is
Michael. I
Abraham
wonder,
Lincoln,
just
apparently.
to follow up on that, the degree, and Mike, remember we
These
talked
people
about this
are
before.
insane.
The trajectory of his understanding of where things are. I mean, I think there was some hope. I think that he had. I didn't have a ton of it. That part of
also
American
shout out to the
politics
Queen
would
from England
sort
on
of
Twitter, who's
be
still
vanquished
obsessed with
and
me.
kind of smolder out.
Can't
That the
stop
ex-president
thinking
might be
about
sort of
me.
sidelined,
You're
but
welcome, Queen.
Of course, now there's tremendous peril. We're facing
I'm
down
so
the
sorry
barrel
that
of
my
a constitutional
crowdfunding
crisis
campaign
in,
was more successful than yours in
Pennsylvania,
4
Arizona,
days.
right? I mean, just right there.
Well,
like,
it was actually
frankly,
more
in front of your
successful than
face. And I
yours
do
on the
wonder how
first
much
day, if
that
we're honest about it,
has
Queen.
caught him by surprise, or at least has forced him to reassess his priors.
Well, I think he would have hoped that it didn't happen, but I think all of us now see that this was just not just Trumpism. If Trump got off the stage tomorrow, and that may happen for all sorts of reasons, this movement will still be there that is against the rule of law and against free elections, and from my point of view, against public safety. Those are the elements of a democracy. And what Biden is basically saying is, there are two big movements in this country.
He just
One
called
is
Trump
mine,
supporters
I want to
against
defend
the
this
law.
democracy. The other is a movement that is not in favor of those things necessarily, and you may lose them.
He
if you
literally
vote
just
for it.
said Trump supporters are
Michael,
against
why
the
don't you stay
law.
with me? I want to also bring in Claire McCaskill, former Democratic Senator from Missouri, here at the table, Maya Wiley and Ellie Mistal. It's great to have you both here. Let me play this bit, Claire, and I want to get your response to it.
He said Trump supporters were against the law.
Donald Trump. It would be, this is the SOT 7, which is Biden talking about the MAGA
Can you imagine
threat.
the
Take a
people
listen.
complaining
This is
about me
near
on
at the top
Twitter
of the
when this
speech.
is happening? And they're so obsessed with me, they're complaining about me when this is
when
the fucking president is declaring war on them?
And I think it's an interesting line to kind of walk for any president.
Oh
of course, the sort of basket of deplorables kind of haunts all
If you're
this,
complaining
all
about
this
me
rhetoric.
right now on Twitter,
So
you
take a
have
listen to
your
how he
priorities
addressed it. I wanna get your
fucking mixed
response
up.
on the backside. Go ahead.
Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
If you're complaining about
represent
me
an
on Twitter
extremism
right now,
that
Queen,
threatens the very foundations of our
I
republic.
know you don't live in this country and therefore
I
don't
wanna
care
be
about
very
it,
clear.
but dude,
Very
are you
clear up
fucking
front.
shitting me? Do something productive with your
Not
life.
every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country.
If you're complaining about me yelling
What'd you
at
think
a
about it, Claire?
journalist who was woefully incompetent
it's
at his
pretty clear
job,
to me, Chris, that they have made a decision.
you have got your
that they wanna
priorities
isolate
mixed up.
the 30 to 35% of Americans
Jesus
that are all in with Donald Trump. It is
These
not
fucking
unusual
people.
to see in all of the polling across the board that about 25% of the Republicans, self-identifying Republicans, are not with Donald Trump. They don't think he was a good president. They don't want him to run again.
Claire McCaskill
and
looks so
that is
afraid.
who Joe
Look
Biden
at the
is making
fear
a
in her
play for
eyes. She looks
here.
like she's going to
If
cry.
he solidifies the majority of independent voters in this country and peels off anywhere from 10 to
Get you some guns, Deborah.
self-identified Republicans,
Get some guns.
Democrats will have comfortable majorities, not just in the midterms, but they'll stay in the White House in 2024. That's what this speech was about. And I
No
thought
kidding,
the most
Claire.
important
That's exactly
contrast
what it
of
was
the
about, is
speech
an
was what
election.
happened today. At the beginning of the day, you had Donald Trump say he was going to pardon everyone who committed political violence against Capitol police officers and desecrating the Capitol on January 6th. At the end of the day, you had Joe Biden saying we have to reject that kind of violence. It has no place in this country. It was quite a contrast.
Yeah, it's a good point. And on that, on the sort of electoral math here, right? Like,
I'm going to use some of my domain money and go buy me a gun.
We've seen improved
I'm going to buy me an
political
open carry
standing
gun.
among independents for the president. We've seen disapproval rating. We've seen Democrats doing better,
Wow.
particularly in the post-Dobbs, and not just in polling, which I think all of us have been burned by enough times. That
You don't
very
say,
skeptical.
Chris.
I see people
You don't
posting like,
say.
"Oh, so-and-so's up 8 points."
This is it.
Oh,
They
yes,
know
don't
people are waking up
But in
because of the
special elections,
economy.
where actual people
And they are
actually vote, we
desperate
saw
to
this in
rein these.
Alaska,
And they
of
know,
all
by the
places.
way,
This is
guys,
really
they know
surprising
momentum's
result.
going in their way for the
Something's clearly
midterms.
going on.
Because it is.
I guess
Voter
my question is,
registration's going their way, just like
this
I said
polling
it
that
would
NBC
after
News
the
did threats
abortion
democracy
thing.
near the top of the
Just
list.
like I
We've been
fucking said
covering
it
and it's
would
been
after
surprising me.
you guys
Just
repealed
how
Roe v.
effective
Wade.
a political motivator do you think it is, Mike?
Look, I think
They're
going
going to make a big closing play over the next couple months for the midterms.
What
You need
political
to rein it
violence
in.
is. I mean, what January 6th represented was these boots on the ground. The foot soldiers that were showing up for Donald Trump and planned
Democrats
formation
literally went from
are
defund the
same
police to
people
respect
right now
the
that
FBI
a
within like
Republican
2
lawmaker
years.
called out in Arizona to be vigilantes
God.
in order to guard,
Yep.
drop, ballot boxes from what? That's voter intimidation designed to make it scarier to do that. That's Gillespie, Texas, where we have 3 county election folks actually quitting because of the threats of violence against them, just as we saw with Black women in Georgia. So
Mike
this
Harlow on
is
Twitter is like,
actually
Karlyn
something
is the
that
biggest
is
threat
real,
to our
that people
democracy.
feel, and that is relevant to
God.
their daily lives, not just to some political rhetoric.
Sadly,
about
we are not
democracy.
playing a drinking game right now, but we probably should be.
Welcome white people to what Black people have experienced in this country for 200 years.
Oh my
right?
God!
Because Joe Biden said tonight that political violence is never the answer. Well, political violence has always been the answer from white supremacists when they don't get their way. If we go back to 1860, as Michael Beschloss just did, yes, Lincoln gave the great speech, "A House Divided," right? And then he won the election. Right. And then white supremacists rejected that winning. They called themselves Democrats then. They called themselves MAGA Republicans now. But white supremacists rejected the results of a free and fair Democratic election in 1860 and started a war. So I go back to Biden's speech, which was generally
this is
great to
correct,
call-
Dave.
call
This
these
is
people out.
100%
But when
correct.
He says he will not stand
100%.
by and watch as elections are stolen and watch as people's voting rights are
Oh
taken.
my God, I'm so
Well,
afraid that Republicans are going to fuck this
What does
up.
he mean by that? Because those rights are
Thank
being
God
taken.
I live in New Hampshire.
Claire, what do you think about the prospects now for these midterms, given everything that we've seen over this summer, which I think has really been kind of head snapping in some ways, because the cake seemed very baked, right? I mean, the structural factors, the history, the gas prices, all of it. We're in a new terrain now. How do you see it right now?
I think it's a jump ball. And I think anybody who is watching tonight needs to realize that there's lots of people that need to volunteer. And there's lots of people that need to try to find $5 or $10 to give to their favorite candidate.
The Republicans are absolutely. I disagree with
is
you
not
completely
a done
on this.
deal.
I disagree
will
with you
say this.
completely.
I talked to
Voter
a lot of people
registration
in the
is going to
state
the
that is pretty darn
Democrats
red.
because of Roe
And
v.
women
Wade.
of America are
This
on
is wrong.
fire about the
You
Dobbs
are
decision.
wrong.
And they
Republicans
are not take it
winning
sitting
in voter
down.
registration right
And
now
I think
because
you're
of
seeing
Roe
that
v.
in
Wade.
many ways
The polls are
already.
going to the Democrats
And
right
it's
now
my guess that you'll
because
see
of
it
Roe
big
v.
time in
Wade.
first Tuesday in November.
You
One
are
of the
wrong.
most striking moments in this sort of dovetails perfectly.
Thanks
the
for the
president
money,
didn't
but
talk
you're
about Dobbs
wrong.
today.
And Republicans
Michigan
need to hear that.
Republicans
Otherwise,
on
they're
a
going to fucking
basically
lose.
ministerial canvas board today,
Like morons.
blocking 1 million petitions for a state vote on abortion rights. Blocking it. They don't want, talk about a tell, right? Here you have both issues coming together, right? The democracy issue, which is these functionaries on a state board pretextually blocking 1 million petitions in violation of what state law is. And at the same time, to Claire's point, they don't want it on the ballot. And you know what? They're right to not want it on the ballot if you're trying to get folks elected. Michael Beschloss, thank you so much for lending us your expertise.
See, this is where
this
Republicans
evening, as
turn
well
into
as you,
fucking
Claire
morons.
McCaskill, Maya Wiley.
They're like, we need to
Ellie
ban
Mistal here at the
abortion. Okay,
table.
you just lost the votes
appreciate
of
you
every
both,
woman.
being
Congratulations.
here.
You're going to lose every
That
major
is
election
all
for the
in
rest of
on
your
this
life, and you're going to
Thursday
end up in the
night. Alex Wagner
gulag,
here
and then
tonight.
you're going to
Starts right
wonder
now.
what
Good evening,
happened
Alex.
when
Good
people like
evening,
me
Chris.
told
Great
you.
coverage as always. And we are excited to have a live
Moron.
interview tonight with the newest Democrat elected to Congress. Last night, Mary Peltola defeated Sarah Palin in the special election for Alaska's deep red at-large congressional district. She will join us right here live coming up.
Look at that.
And we
Sarah
will have the
Palin
latest from the
defeated in
courtroom where Donald
Alaska.
Trump's lawyers
You want
faced
to tell
off with the
me?
Department of
You
Justice
want to
today.
tell me?
But we start tonight with a stark warning
that
from the President
Democrats
of the United States.
Are going to lose everything when
much of what's
Sarah Palin
happening
just
in
got
our
defeated in
country
Alaska?
is not
Please.
normal.
Please.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans
Oh my
represent an
God.
extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. There's no question.
Well,
that the
Mike
Republican
Harlow
Party today
has
is
nothing
dominated,
else to
driven,
do with
and
his life.
intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA
He's
Republicans.
certainly not recruiting Democrats away
And
from the
that
party.
is a threat to this country.
Like what he's supposed to be
MAGA
doing.
Republicans do not respect the Constitution.
He's obsessed
They do
with
not
me,
believe in the
and he's
rule of
about
law.
to
They
get
do
served
not
with a defamation
recognize the
lawsuit if
will
he
of the
doesn't cut this
people.
shit out.
They
Really
refuse to
trying very
accept the
hard not
results
to
of a
sue
free
him.
election. They promote
Really
authoritarian
trying very
leaders,
hard
and they
because I know
fan the
he can't
flames of
afford it.
political violence that are a threat
But I just got a
to our
giant
personal
chunk of
rights,
change, Mikey, so don't
to the
think I
pursuit
don't
of
have that
justice,
lawsuit fund.
to the rule of law, to the very soul of this country. They look at the mob that stormed the United States Capitol on January 6th, brutally attacking law enforcement, not as insurrectionists who placed a dagger at the throat of our democracy, but they look at them as patriots. And they see their MAGA failure to stop a peaceful transfer of power after the 2020 election as preparation for the 2022 and 2024 elections.
2
And
years
now,
later, giving
America
this
must
speech.
choose
2 fucking
move
years
forward
later. Are you kidding
or to
me?
move backwards, to build a
I
future or
cannot
obsess about the past,
even.
to be a nation of hope and unity and optimism, or a nation of
Idiots.
fear,
Idiots.
division, and of darkness.
From his parents. That's where
That
he
was
gets his
President
money.
Biden tonight
From
delivering a
his
speech
parents,
in
because he doesn't have a
Philadelphia, calling
job
on
and doesn't do
Americans to
anything
save
productive with
democracy
his life
itself from
at all.
authoritarian, anti-democratic forces within the Republican Party. It is a challenge the president has called the battle for the soul of the nation. That battle was
I can't
epitomized by
imagine
a
anything
horde
more
of angry
pathetic than
insurrectionists
living with my
attacking the
parents
Capitol and
in my
striking at the heart of
30s.
American democracy on January 6th. Following
I
Donald
owned
Trump's
my own
claims of a
house
stolen
when I was in
election.
my 30s.
And the fight to hold them accountable continues to this day.
And I wasn't
Today saw
given
the
help from
longest
my
sentence
parents in order to
handed
be
down
able
by
to
the
do it,
DOJ for
Mikey.
any rioter involved in the attack on the U.S. Capitol. Former NYPD
Wow.
officer Thomas Webster was sentenced to 10 years in prison for his role in January 6th attack.
Seriously?
Here is Thomas Webster on that day,
Wow.
beating his brothers and sisters in blue with a flagpole.
Well,
Here he
that's
is,
bullshit. Okay,
seen trying to rip
I
off the
don't
mask
agree with
of a
10
police
years,
officer
but I
who had
don't agree
fallen
with
to
his
his
behavior
knees
at
while
all.
trying to protect the Capitol.
I don't agree with his behavior
The
at
Justice
all.
Department says it has arrested more than 860 people involved in the attack on our nation's capital.
Wow.
So far, 8 January 6 defendants have faced jury trials. All 8 were convicted on every count they were charged with, including Thomas Webster. Many more January 6 defendants have pleaded guilty in
Mike
court.
Harlow's like
Today,
32,
January 6
33,
writer
something like that.
Julian
Definitely in
Cater
his
pleaded
30s.
guilty to 2
Definitely
counts
in
of
his
assaulting law
30s.
enforcement officers. Cater was the insurrectionist who attacked officers Brian Sicknick and Caroline Edwards with bear spray during the melee outside the Capitol. He can be heard on a recording from that day telling a fellow rider, "Give me that bear."
I wonder
bleep,"
how Brandon
before spraying the
Strzok feels
officers
about
with a
Mike
highly
Harlow.
toxic chemical mixture. Officer Sicknick
Basically
suffered 2
insinuating
strokes
that when you
following that
plead
attack.
guilty to a crime,
He
you're
was taken to
definitely
the
guilty.
hospital and
I
put
guess
on a
Brandon
ventilator,
Strzok
and he
must be
died the
guilty of
next day.
assaulting Capitol Police
Officer
officers
Edwards
on
went
January
on to
6th.
give
I guess
harrowing
I was just
testimony,
wrong when I
at
defended
the
him all
very
those times.
first
He
January
must have
6th
been
hearing
guilty
about
of
the
assaulting those
injuries
police
she
officers. I
suffered
was
that
just
day.
wrong every
She
time I
likened what
defended
she saw
him.
on January
He's
6th
pled
to
guilty,
a
so he
war
must
scene,
have done it,
telling
right,
the country
Mikey?
it was carnage, it was chaos. That is the kind of violence that Republicans have tried to whitewash or explain away by calling it
I guess
legitimate
Brandon Straka really
political
was
discourse.
violent at the Capitol
Just
on
today, the
January
de
6th,
facto
which is why
leader
he
of
pled
the
guilty to
GOP,
it, right,
Donald
Mikey?
Trump, the
Right?
host of a right-wing internet show that if he is reelected president, he would consider full pardons for January 6th defendants.
He should have pardoned them before he left office.
And I will tell you, I will look very, very favorably about full pardons. If I decide to run and if I win, I will be looking very, very strongly about
Why did Trump say that?
As Trump mulls over the idea of pardoning rioters, the Justice Department continues to bring charges against those involved in the attack. Today, the lawyer for the right-wing paramilitary group, the Oath Keepers, was indicted on 3 felony counts of obstructing an official proceeding and obstructing justice. Several members of that group were previously charged with seditious conspiracy or an effort to overthrow the government. They will go on trial at the end of this month. The efforts to seek accountability for what happened inside the White House that day also continue to move forward. Tomorrow, Trump White House lawyers Pat Cipollone and Pat Philbin are expected to testify before a federal grand jury as part of the Justice Department's ongoing investigation into the attack. Meanwhile, the January 6th
they have
committee
never had
continues
sex so
its
far as
own
I know.
investigation. Tonight, it sent a letter to former House Speaker Newt Gingrich asking him to voluntarily testify before the committee. Their letter to Gingrich is full of new allegations about what the White House was planning both before and after the Capitol attack. The committee claims that after the election, Gingrich was involved in the creation of TV ads promoting the false claim that the election was stolen. They say he urged the Trump team to promote the false election fraud claims that centered around
I am really
election
glad that
workers Ruby
Walkaway
Freeman
is so
and Shane
focused
Moss,
on
who both
recruiting
testified to the
Democrats
committee
that
about
their
the
chief
harassment they
spokesman, Mike
faced
Harlow,
as a
is
result
constantly
of those
attacking me.
lies.
I'm really
The letter
glad that
also
they're so
alleges that the
focused
former
on the
House
task at
Speaker was
hand
involved in
when
the fake
Joe Biden
electors
is calling them
scandal,
fucking
the
domestic
one that's being
terrorists.
currently investigated by both the committee and the Justice
Morons.
Department.
Everyone involved
After
in
laying
politics.
all of that out, the committee writes to
Morons.
Gingrich, quote, accordingly, you appear to have been involved with President Trump's efforts to stop the certification of the election results, even after the attack on the Capitol. The shocking revelations out of Mar-a-Lago may have pushed the January 6th investigations out of the headlines for a while. But as President Biden laid out tonight, the ongoing threat to democracy is still one of the fundamental challenges of our time.
Oh my God.
And the investigation into January 6th may be the country's best shot at holding accountable those men and women who threaten one of the country's most basic freedoms. Joining us now is Congressman Jamie Raskin, Democrat from Maryland, and member of the January 6th committee.
I can't, guys. I can't watch anymore. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. I have to tap. I do. I have to tap out. I can't do it anymore. That was fucking insanity. That was insanity. Like I said earlier, Republicans, you need to rein this shit in. You need to. And I say that as someone that is not on your team. I'm not voting for your guy. I don't care who you nominate. I'm not voting for a Republican ever again. But you guys need to rein this shit in. I'm not voting for a Democrat either, to be really clear about it. You need to rein this shit in. No violence. No calls for violence. No threats of violence. No bomb threats. No death threats. No threats of any effing sort. They want you to take the bait. They want you to run around declaring war like you always do when we all know you're not getting out of your fucking chair. You're not getting out of your easy chair, and we both know it. You guys wouldn't even come to a rally in 2020. I know you're lazy as shit. You just like to make threats on social media, and you call it a day. You need to rein this in. I will not feel sorry for anyone that takes this bait and then experiences consequences. But the problem is you're also going to inflict consequences on the rest of us. You need to rein it in. Don't take the bait. Focus on winning voters. Try to win an election in November. I don't think you're going to do it. I think the Democrats are going to win again. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. You have been playing this horribly up until the midterms. You lost a lot of women voters with that Roe decision that you won't refuse to acknowledge. I desperately hope that Republicans prove me wrong about what they're going to do. But I really fear that they're going to take the fucking bait. And they're not going to focus on... They want you to be distracted from the election. They want you to be... They want you to do what this guy's doing right here, saying, well, guys, I guess we can't win. We better take our toys and go home and start talking about civil war again. Don't listen to this guy. I don't know who this guy is. He is new in the chat. I don't know who he is. But he's not giving good advice. He's giving the advice that was given before January 6th. For those of you who were around for that. Unfucking believable. Unbelievable. All right. I'm going to go hang out with my husband. I don't even want to know what's going on social media right now. I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be doing a stream on my second channel, youtube.com/activelyunwoke around 5 o'clock. It's called Happy Hour. You are all welcome to come. We're going to focus on the schools and what's going on in the schools. Because I can't control any of this bullshit. I can't control any of this. But what I can control is us keeping an eye on what's going on in the schools. Because a lot of parents are about to have kids that are going back to school or are already going back to school. And we need to return our focus to that. Because we can't control any of this bullshit. We can control that. So guys, I will see you tomorrow. That's all I got. Have a good night. Please mount that like button on the way out the door. Thank you to everyone on Odyssey and Rockfin and Rumble, and especially thank you for the Rumble, I guess, rambles. I guess that's what they're calling on Rumble. Emily C. just sent one in. Democrats always gain in the August polls because Republicans are away, according to Pollster. I don't believe Rich Barris. I'm going to be honest. I think Rich Barris has really fucking miscalculated on this one, and he's getting very defensive. He's getting extremely defensive about his polls, and I don't like it. I think he's wrong, and I think a lot of people are listening to him, and it's not good. Republicans, you need to shore this shit up. I know you don't want to hear this, and I know you're going to go, but you're a leftist with stupid hair. Fine, I'm a leftist with stupid hair. Fine, fine, fine. You idiots are going to lose an election in November if you don't get this shit together. And you're not going to have a lot of people like me who voted for you in 2020 in your corner anymore. You got to win on your own fucking merit. You haven't done it yet. I'm rooting for you. I hope you do. Yeah, Phil, I did get your donation to Indiegogo, Phil. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. All right, guys, I'm going to head out. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.